It was an ordinary day on Earth. People were going about their usual routines when suddenly the skies darkened. It wasn't a storm or an eclipse. It was something far more terrifying. Hundreds of thousands of alien ships filled the sky, blocking out the sun and casting a shadow over the entire planet. Panic spread quickly as people realized what was happening. The news channels interrupted their regular programming to report on the sudden appearance of the alien fleet. Scientists and experts speculated about the aliens' intentions, but no one knew for sure. The governments of the world quickly mobilized, declaring a state of emergency and urging people to remain calm. But calm was the last thing on anyone's mind. In New York City, Sarah Williams, a young journalist, watched the chaos unfold from her apartment window. She grabbed her camera and notebook, ready to capture the story of a lifetime. Her phone rang, and she saw it was her editor. "Sarah, get down to the streets and start reporting. We need to know what's happening out there," her editor said, his voice shaky with fear. Sarah nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "I'm on it," she replied, grabbing her things and rushing out the door. The streets were filled with people running, screaming, and looking up at the sky in horror. Sarah pushed her way through the crowd, trying to get closer to the epicenter of the panic. As she made her way downtown, she saw a massive spaceship hovering above the city. It was like nothing she had ever seen before, sleek, metallic, and enormous. The ship emitted a low hum that seemed to resonate deep within her bones. Sarah couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and fear. Suddenly, a bright light shot out from the spaceship, hitting a nearby building. The building disintegrated in an instant, reduced to a pile of rubble and dust. The crowd screamed louder, and the chaos intensified. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, but she forced herself to stay focused. She had a job to do. She spotted a group of soldiers setting up a barricade and approached them. "I'm with the press," she said, showing her credentials. "What can you tell me about the situation?" One of the soldiers, a young man with a determined expression, looked at her. "Ma'am, we're doing everything we can to protect the city. But these aliens, they're powerful. We've never seen anything like this before. Our weapons are barely scratching their ships." Sarah nodded, jotting down notes. "What about the civilians? What's the plan to keep them safe?" The soldier glanced around, his expression grim. "We're trying to evacuate as many people as possible, but it's chaos out here. If you can, get to a safe place and stay there." Sarah thanked him and moved on, determined to get as much information as possible. She interviewed more people, capturing their fear and confusion. As night fell, the alien ships continued to hover ominously above, their intentions still unknown. In the midst of the terror, a sense of unity began to emerge. People helped each other, shared resources, and looked out for one another. Sarah saw glimmers of hope in the darkness, and she knew that humanity's spirit would be its greatest weapon in the fight to come. The world held its breath as the alien ships loomed overhead. Governments convened emergency meetings, and scientists worked around the clock to understand the new threat. Amidst the chaos, Sarah Williams continued her reporting, determined to document every moment of this unprecedented event. The following day, a message was broadcasted from the alien fleet. It was a language no one had heard before, but somehow it was understood by everyone. The message was simple and chilling. "We come in peace, but we demand your surrender." Panic spread like wildfire. Surrendering meant giving up everything humanity had built. but resisting seemed like a futile effort against such an advanced force. World leaders debated their options, but the consensus was clear. Earth would not go down without a fight. In the meantime, scientists had made a breakthrough. They managed to intercept and decode some of the aliens' communications. The aliens called themselves the Zoranians, and they had been observing Earth for centuries. They believed humanity was a threat to the cosmic order and had come to subjugate the planet. Sarah received a call from her editor. "Sarah, there's a press briefing at the Pentagon. You need to be there." She quickly gathered her things and headed to the Pentagon. The briefing room was packed with journalists, all eager for answers. General Marcus Thompson took the podium, his face stern and resolute. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing an unprecedented crisis," he began. "But rest assured, we are not defenseless. Our scientists and military are working tirelessly to develop a strategy to counter the alien threat." Sarah raised her hand. "General, do we have any information about the aliens' weaknesses?" The general hesitated for a moment. "We have identified potential vulnerabilities in their technology, but it's too early to go into details. Our priority is to protect our citizens and our planet." As the briefing continued, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. She knew that humanity's resilience and ingenuity would be tested like never before. That night, the aliens made their first move. Smaller ships descended from the motherships, landing in major cities around the world. The Zoranians emerged, tall and imposing, with advanced weaponry and technology. They began to round up people, demanding obedience and cooperation. Sarah was on the streets of New York when the aliens arrived. She watched in horror as they used their weapons to subdue anyone who resisted. The city's police and military fought back, but they were no match for the alien technology. Buildings crumbled, and the streets were filled with smoke and debris. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah found herself cornered by a group of Zoranians. She raised her hands, trying to show she wasn't a threat. One of the aliens stepped forward, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. "Do not resist," it commanded. "Your cooperation will ensure your survival." Sarah's mind raced. She knew she couldn't fight them, but she also couldn't give up. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice trembling. "What do you want from us?" The alien tilted its head. "We seek to bring order to your chaotic world. Your species is reckless and dangerous. Under our control, you will prosper." Before Sarah could respond, a loud explosion rocked the street. A group of soldiers, led by the same young man she had spoken to the day before, launched a surprise attack. They managed to drive the aliens back, at least temporarily. "Get out of here," the soldier shouted to Sarah. "Find shelter and stay safe." Sarah nodded, her heart pounding. As she ran through the war-torn streets, she couldn't help but wonder if humanity had any chance of surviving this invasion. The fight had only just begun, and the future looked bleak. The days following the initial invasion were chaotic. Cities around the world were under siege, and the Zoranians showed no mercy. But amidst the destruction and fear, a spark of resistance began to ignite. People refused to bow down to their oppressors, and small groups of rebels formed, determined to fight back. Sarah Williams had joined one such group in New York, led by Captain James Harris, a former Marine. The group consisted of civilians, ex-military personnel, and anyone willing to take a stand. They called themselves the Earth Defenders. In their hidden underground base, Sarah documented their efforts and strategies. The resistance was a diverse mix of people from all walks of life, united by a common goal: to reclaim their planet. "We need to hit them where it hurts," Captain Harris said during a strategy meeting. "Our intel suggests the Zoranians have a command center in Central Park. If we can take it out, we can disrupt their operations." The group nodded in agreement. It was a risky plan, but they had no other choice. They spent the next few days gathering supplies, making weapons, and planning their attack. Sarah, armed with her camera and notepad, was ready to document the mission. On the night of the attack, the resistance moved silently through the darkened streets. The once bustling city was now a war zone, with rubble and debris everywhere. The air was thick with tension and the smell of smoke. As they approached Central Park, they saw the alien command center, a massive structure glowing with an unnatural light. It was heavily guarded, but the Earth defenders were prepared. They split into teams, each with a specific task. Sarah stayed close to Captain Harris, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. They crept through the shadows, avoiding patrols and setting up explosives at key points. The plan was to create a diversion and then hit the command center hard. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the area. One of the teams had been discovered, and a fierce battle erupted. The Zoranians fought back with their advanced weapons, but the Earth defenders held their ground. "Move, move, move," Captain Harris shouted, leading his team toward the command center. Sarah followed, capturing every moment with her camera. The resistance fighters were brave and relentless, taking down alien soldiers and pushing forward. They reached the entrance of the command center and planted the remaining explosives. Captain Harris set the timer and gave the signal to retreat. They ran back to a safe distance, and moments later, the command center was engulfed in a massive explosion. The blast shook the ground, and the alien forces were thrown into disarray. The resistance had struck a significant blow, but the battle was far from over. The Zoranians would regroup and retaliate. But for now, the Earth defenders had achieved a crucial victory. Back at the base, the mood was one of cautious optimism. They had proven that the aliens could be defeated, and their spirits were lifted. Sarah's reports of the mission spread quickly, inspiring other resistance groups around the world. "We've shown them that we won't go down without a fight," Captain Harris said, addressing the group. "But this is just the beginning. We need to keep hitting them, keep pushing back until we've taken back our planet." Sarah felt a renewed sense of hope. The road ahead would be long and dangerous, but humanity had a fighting chance. The resistance was growing stronger, and the Zoranians had underestimated the resilience and determination of the people of Earth. As the Earth defenders prepared for their next mission, Sarah continued to document their journey. The story of humanity's fight for survival was far from over, and she was determined to tell it. The destruction of the alien command center in Central Park was a significant victory for the Earth defenders. News of their success spread quickly, inspiring resistance movements across the globe. People began to believe that they could fight back against the Zoranians and reclaim their planet. In the days following the attack, the resistance focused on gathering intelligence and strengthening their forces. They needed to understand the aliens' technology and find more weaknesses to exploit. Sarah Williams continued her work, documenting their efforts and keeping the world informed. One day, while analyzing intercepted alien communications, the scientists made a crucial discovery. The Zoranians had a central control ship orbiting the Earth, which coordinated their entire invasion force. If the resistance could destroy this ship, it could cripple the aliens' operations and give humanity a fighting chance. Captain Harris called a meeting to discuss the new information. "This is our best shot," he said, pointing to a holographic image of the control ship. But it's heavily fortified and well guarded. We'll need a detailed plan and every resource we can muster. The resistance leaders devised a bold strategy. They would launch a coordinated attack on the control ship using captured alien technology and human ingenuity. It was a risky plan, but it was their only hope. Sarah prepared to join the mission, determined to document the pivotal moment in humanity's struggle. As they made final preparations, she felt a mixture of excitement and fear. The outcome of this mission could determine the fate of the entire planet. On the day of the attack, the resistance forces gathered in a secret location. They had managed to capture several alien ships, which they would use to infiltrate the control ship. Sarah boarded one of the ships with Captain Harris and a team of skilled fighters. As they approached the control ship, the tension was palpable. The alien defenses were formidable, but the resistance had a plan. They used the captured ships to get close, then launched a surprise assault on the control ship's defenses. The battle was fierce. Alien fighters swarmed to defend their command center, and the resistance fought with everything they had. Sarah watched in awe as the Earth defenders displayed incredible bravery and determination. She captured the intense firefight on camera, knowing that this moment would go down in history. Despite heavy resistance, the Earth defenders managed to breach the control ship's defenses and board the massive vessel. They fought their way through the corridors, facing alien soldiers at every turn. Sarah stayed close to Captain Harris, documenting the relentless advance. Finally, they reached the central control room. It was filled with alien technology and strange devices. The team planted explosives at critical points, set to detonate and destroy the ship from within. But just as they were about to leave, they were ambushed by a group of elite Zoranian warriors. A fierce battle ensued, with both sides taking heavy losses. Captain Harris fought valiantly, but he was gravely injured in the skirmish. Sarah and the remaining fighters managed to fend off the attackers and activated the explosives. As they made their way back to their ship, Sarah helped carry Captain Harris, who was barely conscious. "We did it," he whispered, a faint smile on his lips. "Now go. Finish the fight." The resistance fighters boarded their ships and fled the control ship, watching as it exploded in a massive fireball. The destruction of the control ship sent shockwaves through the Zoranian fleet, causing chaos and confusion. The alien forces were now vulnerable, and humanity had a chance to turn the tide. Back on Earth, the resistance celebrated their victory, but the cost had been high. Captain Harris and many others had sacrificed their lives for the cause. Sarah wrote a heartfelt tribute to the fallen heroes, capturing their bravery and the hope they had given humanity. The fight was not over, but the destruction of the control ship marked a turning point. The Zoranians were weakened, and the Earth defenders were more determined than ever to reclaim their planet. As Sarah looked up at the night sky, she felt a renewed sense of hope. The future was uncertain, but humanity's spirit was unbreakable. With the destruction of the Zoranian control ship, the tide of the war began to turn. The alien forces were in disarray, their coordinated efforts now fragmented. Humanity seized this opportunity to strike back with renewed vigor. The Earth defenders, emboldened by their recent victory, launched a series of coordinated attacks on alien strongholds worldwide. Cities that had been under occupation were slowly being liberated, and the spirit of resistance grew stronger every day. Sarah Williams continued her work, capturing the triumphs and struggles of humanity's fight for freedom. However, the Zoranians were not defeated yet. Their leader, Supreme Commander Zorak, decided to make one final stand. He gathered the remaining alien forces for a massive counterattack aimed at crushing the resistance once and for all. The decisive battle would take place in Washington, D.C., where the largest concentration of Earth defenders had gathered. Sarah traveled with the resistance to the Capitol, documenting their preparations for the final showdown. The atmosphere was tense, but there was a palpable sense of determination and unity among the fighters. They knew that this battle would determine the fate of their planet. On the day of the battle, the skies over Washington, D.C. were filled with alien ships and human aircraft. The ground forces, a mix of soldiers, civilians, and resistance fighters, stood ready to defend their home. Sarah found herself in the thick of it, her camera capturing every moment of the historic event. The battle began with a deafening roar as both sides clashed with unprecedented ferocity. The streets of the capital turned into a war zone, with explosions and laser fire lighting up the sky. The Earth defenders fought valiantly, using every weapon and tactic at their disposal. Despite their determination, the alien forces were overwhelming, and the situation grew increasingly desperate. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah received a message from a group of scientists working with the resistance. They had developed a plan to take down Supreme Commander Zorak and end the invasion once and for all. The plan involved infiltrating the Zoranian mothership, which was hovering above the city, and deploying a powerful EMP device that would disable their technology. Sarah volunteered to join the mission, determined to see the fight through to the end. She and a small team of elite fighters boarded a captured alien ship and made their way toward the mothership. The journey was perilous, with alien fighters attacking them from all sides, but they managed to reach their destination. Inside the mothership, the team moved swiftly, encountering fierce resistance from Zorak's elite guards. The halls were filled with the sounds of battle as they fought their way to the central chamber. Sarah stayed close to the team leader, a seasoned fighter named Lieutenant Ramirez, capturing every moment on her camera. When they finally reached the central chamber, they found Supreme Commander Zorak waiting for them. He was a towering figure, exuding an aura of power and menace. "You are too late, humans," he snarled. "Your resistance is futile." Lieutenant Ramirez and the team engaged Zorak in a fierce battle, giving Sarah and the scientists time to set up the EMP device. The fight was brutal, with casualties on both sides. Zorak proved to be a formidable opponent, but the Earth defenders fought with everything they had. As the EMP device was activated, a surge of energy coursed through the mothership, disabling its systems. The alien technology flickered and died, leaving Zorak vulnerable. Lieutenant Ramirez seized the moment, delivering a final decisive blow that brought the alien leader to his knees. With Zorak defeated and the mothership disabled, the remaining alien forces on Earth began to retreat. The tide had turned irrevocably in humanity's favor. The battle for Washington, D.C. ended in victory for the Earth defenders, and the skies were soon clear of alien ships. Back on the ground, the mood was one of jubilation and relief. People embraced, cheering and celebrating their hard-won freedom. Sarah's camera captured the raw emotion of the moment, documenting the triumph of the human spirit. In the days that followed, the remnants of the Zoranian invasion force were systematically dismantled. Earth began the slow process of rebuilding and healing from the scars of war. The resistance fighters became heroes, their names and deeds celebrated by a grateful planet. Sarah wrote the final chapter of her story, a testament to the courage and resilience of humanity. She reflected on the journey, from the dark days of the invasion to the glorious victory that had been achieved through unity and determination. As she looked out over the recovering city, Sarah felt a deep sense of hope. The invasion had brought humanity to the brink, but it had also shown the world what could be accomplished when people stood together. The future was uncertain, But with the lessons learned from the struggle, there was no challenge too great for the indomitable human spirit.